lot of foolishness, Brother Timber? What about for 40 years? One of the 2 of the 12 spies, Caleb, think about what he had to put up with. Numbers 14, this is this area, and his account is one of my favorite. It says, "But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereunto he went, and his seed shall possess it." Verse 26 says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, How long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me." In verse 38, "But Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, lived still." And in the book of Joshua, chapter 14, at verse 6, "Then the children of Judah came unto Joshua in Gilgal." Joshua is now leading the children of Israel. Moses has died. Moses has passed off the scene. Joshua has taken up the leadership of Israel. And so it's time. They have gone in. They have conquered the land. They have defeated 31 nations. And now it's time to divide up the land. God has performed what he said he would do. Finally they got there. Finally they reached pay dirt. Finally they got to the promise of God. And now the children of Judah came. Caleb was of the children of Judah. And Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite said unto him, to Joshua, his co-leader in the church, "Thou knowest the thing that the Lord said unto Moses, the man of God, concerning me and thee in Kadesh Barnea. 40 years old was I when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to espy out the land. And I brought him word again, as was in my heart. Nevertheless, my brethren, that went up with me, made the heart of the people melt. But I wholly follow the Lord my God. And Moses sware on that day, saying, Surely the land whereupon thy feet have trodden shall be thine inheritance, and thy children's forever, because thou hast wholly followed the Lord my God. And now, behold, the Lord hath kept me alive." Sister Wilson, hallelujah. He said, "These 45 years, even since the Lord spake this word unto Moses, while the children of Israel wandered. And now, lo, I am this day 85 years old. I'm 85 years old. As yet I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now, for war both to go out and to come in. Now therefore, give me this mountain, whereof the Lord spake in that day, for thou heardest in that day, you were there, how the Anakims were there, and that the cities were great and fenced. If so be the Lord will be with me, then I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord said. And Joshua blessed him, and gave unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh Hebron for an inheritance." Hallelujah. Here he was, 45 years ago. Let's go in and take the promise of God. The spies went in with him. Joshua went in with him. They saw what was there. God had promised it to them. They came back. They were ready to go. Yeah, there were obstacles. There were things in the way. But they were ready to go. But the other 10 said, "No, we can't do it. It's too great. We're just like grasshoppers in their sight." So what did he do? What did that mean for the life of Caleb? Was he guaranteed 45 more years? Not necessarily. He didn't know that he would see this day. But he remained strong. He remained, this is an example, Brother Carter, somebody that forbear. This is forbearance on the part of someone in the Bible. They put up with faithlessness. They put up with wandering. They put up with getting nowhere, going around in circles. They put up with it, but did they leave? Did they quit? that. Why? Because they love the church, and it was a witness. It's still a witness to me today. Brother Darren, it's a witness to me today. When I look at Caleb and what he did, a witness of forbearance and humility. Hallelujah. What about David? He was anointed king of Israel as a boy by Samuel, but his actual ascension to the throne of Jerusalem was not automatic. And for some years, it never even seemed probable. Although he had slain the lion and the bear, taken down Goliath, empowered the armies of Israel, was continually successful waging the Lord's battles in a type of guerrilla warfare, he was a cast out. He was a castaway and put to flight on two separate extended occasions. One by his predecessor Saul, the other by his son Absalom. He put up with attempts by both of these to destroy him and to deny him his rightful place among God's people. But by humility and forbearance, he eventually became Judah and Israel's greatest king, and thereby the world took notice of Israel. A world witness to the power and plan of God. How? By somebody's humility and forbearance. Amen.
Amen.
Time will hardly suffice to speak of New Testament examples, such as Paul. His life was riddled for a church testimony. In 2 Corinthians 11, as are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors, more abundant. In stripes, above measure. In prisons, more frequent. In deaths, oft. Of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day have I been in the deep. In journeyings often. In perils of waters. In perils of robbers. In perils by my own countrymen. In perils by the heathen. In perils in the city. Perils in the wilderness. Perils in the sea. Perils among false brethren. In weariness and painfulness. In watchings often. In hunger. Thirst, fastings, often, in cold and nakedness. Besides those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. I'd say he had to put up with a lot for the sake of many. Paul even said, like Moses said, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. He's the only other one besides Moses that said anything like that in the Bible. I could have you strike my name out of the Lamb's Book of Life if it would mean the salvation of my brethren. That's humility, that's forbearance to the utmost, to the ultimate that we could think of. Stephen said, lay it not to their charge when they were stoning him to death. Lay it not to their charge. Ultimate forbearing. Stephen was a deacon. You know, deacons oftentimes are an epitome of this kind of character in the church, or they should be. Humility, forbearance, long-suffering. These are the pillars of the church that we should be able to look to.
Amen.
But you know what? As much as these examples happen, it was a long time ago. I look around this room today, I look around this room right now, and I see some stories right here that I've seen unfold over the last 16 years. We just heard testimony about Brother Nichols. I guess it was 2005 when I first met Brother Nichols. There have been ups and downs, a roller coaster ride. There was one time we actually started a church, started a mission in Kansas City. But it fizzled out. It didn't take. It didn't work. There was some independent spirit there among some of those folks. But he's still here. He's here today. You were here in 2005 at School of Ministry, weren't you, brother? Was it 2005? 2006. Hallelujah. I look back here. I see Brother Tinkler. Stand up just a minute, brother, if you wouldn't mind. This is a man that I love dearly with all my heart. Brother Tiegler went out, I guess it's probably been 14 years ago, in Missouri, Tecumseh, Missouri. Started up a little mission because he got excited about the church. He got excited about Zionism in the Church of God. He was by himself. He bought a little building, started having services. He was quickly forsaken by his own family. They had been attending Assembly of God services there. They didn't want anything to do with our doctrine. They left him alone. He had some highlights. He had a brother one time that actually came to the school of ministry, Robbie. Some of you may remember him. It looked promising. But you know, that went on for a number of years. Brother Tingler was faithful. He was there. He had services. He believed. He was a man. He is a man of humility and forbearance. Hallelujah. You can sit down, Brother Tingler. You're an inspiration to me. Hallelujah. I think about Brother Robert, Sister Marie Linez, Sister Wilson. When we first started Zion Assembly back in the early 2000s, I went out there, Julie and I went out there to visit them. We were traveling for the Voice of Zion. Went out there. They had a pastor at that time, Brother Danny Wilson. That's Sister Wilson's son. It's Marie's brother. A very good pastor. Been a pastor in our previous affiliation for many years. Was strong in the Word of God. We went out there, had services. Something felt a little bit off while we were there that
Praise
week.
the Lord. Praise the Lord.
That followed before Wednesday of that same upcoming week, we found out that he had an affair with a sister that they had taken into the church and left the church. But this family and this church, they believed God was going to do something. How long? How long, I ask, did it take? It took, I guess, 14 years. Something like that, 10 years. God started working in Danny Wilson. Danny Wilson is attending services. Danny Wilson is there every Sunday. It's pretty clear to most of us he's getting ready to be a pastor again. Hallelujah. Somebody had to forbear. Somebody had to forbear. Hallelujah. I think of the Merrills, brother and sister Merrill, Kim, and Richard, way out in Oregon. They're staying with us this week. And, we've been out to visit them several times. They got started. Likewise, they had a good pastor. He was going. There was another sister out there, Margie, Sister Margie Bryant. You all remember her. She was a backbone, got that church going out there. She got cancer and passed away some years later. Things kind of fell apart. The pastor left. He went another way. They were left out there. They've been out there all these years by themselves. But here they are. They're here today. Still believing, still a witness, still a testimony, still a story, still have a story. You have a story. I believe this room is full of stories that are testimonies. And it surprised me. Sister Paris Amara, hallelujah. What a witness she is. What a testimony she is. Glory be to God. Talk about an example of humility and forbearance. This sister epitomizes that. Hallelujah. I feel that about every one of you here today has a similar story. Story of humility, forbearance that has actually become a testimony to your love for the church and are markers of the church's prevalence, past, present, future. I know some of you here today are actively forbearing in some situations, some circumstances right now that seem impossible. God sees it. I thank the Lord for the song that Brother Bolin sang earlier. I think speaks about this. God sees you. You're witnessing to Him. You're witnessing to us. You're witnessing to others of your love for the church. Don't faint. Take it one day at a time. Hallelujah. God bless you.
Thank you, Brother Steele. I was reading long ago in a magazine talking about forbearance and patience of a good Christian lady in a large city, and she was driving through and came to a red light and stopped. And she got looking for her cell phone in her purse and couldn't find her. Meanwhile, the light changed and she was still looking for it. She loved the Lord, and she had on her bumper sticker on her car, said, "If you honk if you love Jesus." So the guy behind her, when the light turned green and she was distracted, he started. And she rolled down her window and started waving and smiling and said, because he loved Jesus too. And then she was surprised when she rolled down her window and she started waving at that guy, that everybody else started honking. And she was surprised so many people loved the Lord. Then the light changed back, and she was the only one who made it through. There was a lot of honking people who loved Jesus then. There's a practice at noon today for Sister Carter's program. The men who are singing on that program meet with her at noon. And choir practice Thursday afternoon after the ordination service. That's be here in the afternoon. And also 5 o'clock Friday, 5 p.m. Friday. Okay, the next session starts at 1:30. It's the ordination service will be part of it, but also Brother Jose Lozano from California will be preaching, and we look forward to this part every year. Choir practice right now. All right. Choir practice. Choir practice right now. Okay. All right. Let's all stand. And let everyone just say, "Praise the Lord." Praise the Lord. All right. Have a good lunch. God bless you.